Greetings everyone, this is Connor from DagoraC TV, and in this video we're asking, where will the Elder Scrolls 6 be set? Okay, so this is another addition to this mini-series that I'm doing, and if you want to check the videos that I've done on High Rock, Hammerfell, Somerset Isles and Valenwood, you can check those out on the annotations on the screen right now. Okay, so as you can tell by the title of this video, this one is on Elsweyr, and Elsweyr is home to the Khajiit and has not been in a single-player Elder Scrolls game since Arena. As of Skyrim, Elsweyr is in the Almera Dominion territory, as you can see on the map, on this map on the screen right now. But it is separated into two states, Palatine and Aquina. This could definitely be a good quest, as trying to bring Elsweyr into one of these states, make it complete Palatine, make it complete Aquina, or make it, unify and make it Elsweyr once again. Or we could maybe set it, in the future where it's become unified and there's still, kind of bad blood against it, as you've got people loyal to the Palatine side and you've got people to the Aquina side, and, there's fights going on, the Frackers, there's camps with, specific legions of people in there, and I think that would definitely be interesting to take part in. And I do like this idea of, actually taking part of this when the game starts with it being in two states, and then the nature of the country changes due to a quest line that you do, and this could be done with, having much more of an effect than what the Imperials and the Stormcloaks did in Skyrim, because at that point Skyrim was in two states, was in the Stormcloak and the Imperial side, and, when it changed, all you saw was really more guards in different places, whereas I'd like this to kind of be different, instead of just changing banners and changing guards, I'd like them to, maybe knock buildings down, maybe start rebuilding things, see more of a process and an impact on the world, if that was going to change, because, these factions, the Palatine and Aquina, they've been fighting against each other a number of times throughout the history, and the Palatine have definitely tried to come up and take part of Elsweyr, in the second era and things like that, and definitely a quest for the unification or taking a side would definitely be cool to explore, and having that three-side thing would be really interesting. Plus as well, there could be also another thing of that Elsweyr, with it not being in the Elvish lands, and is part of the old Almera Dominion and is part of it now, but at the point it's in now is not completely 100% sealed deal, it's just part there right now. No fully agreeable deal has been signed, so they could definitely do something where, you could be part of, Elsweyr trying to stand on its own as an individual province, or trying to make Elsweyr fight against the Empire, or fight against the Almera Dominion. You could maybe choose in that way, and I think that would be really cool, whether it being linked with another province, like Valenwood, like I said in the last video, because, the landscape of Elsweyr is very, very interesting, as, you've got these kind of desert-like lands in the north of Elsweyr, which is kind of like how Hammerfell is, and then you've also got these jungle-like area, which is very much like Valenwood in the south, and having that, twinned with Valenwood, you're having this huge jungle-like, rainforest-like forest in the whole game, and as the map, and then you've got the sand area as well, and mountains and everything in Elsweyr, and I think the two working together would be really, really cool, and I'd like to have that diversity between each of them. Plus, the Khajiits is a very, very interesting racial culture with these things called the Mains, and the Mains is basically like the Pope of the Khajiit, and the Pope of their religion, and doing quests around this religion, not just a single quest line, but I would love to have many to explore it, and maybe take part in electing a new main, finding out which one is, is the one that you kind of deal with, and seeing the different personalities between the different candidates, or maybe doing quests if they're not going to do that for the current main, and see how that goes down, because this religion is very different compared to what we've experienced in Skyrim and Cyrodiil, and I would really love to explore this really in a huge amount of areas, reading books, doing quests with them, talking to people, to really see what it's about and how different it is, and how the Khajiit really do worship the gods, because they see them very differently, they see Akatosh as the great cat, it's very different than what we're used to with the Nords and the Imperials. And plus, the Khajiit, they freaking love the moons. The reason for that was because, that is the way that the different Khajiits are kind of born. It decides which race of Khajiit they are, because there is more than one type of Khajiit, there's so many, too many for me to list right now, but the biggest one that you get is the Senche rat, which is like the mammoth-sized, Khajiit. It's like, it's a huge thing that have been rode into battle by the Khajiit, and just seeing them walking around would be freaking amazing. And the ones that we normally see is called the Cathay, which is like the common type of Khajiit which we see in the games. But we get all kinds, we get the saber-toothed tiger, kind of like Khajiit. there's so many to explore, and seeing all the different ones, which we saw a little bit in that Skyrim one, Moonpath to Elsweyr, but doing it as something that's Bethesda licensed and Bethesda Game Studios work on would be extremely phenomenal to see, and seeing it as canon would be something completely out of the ordinary and would be great. As like I said in previous videos in the series, it's going to bring back that alien feeling of Morrowind, which we hadn't really had since Morrowind, because, Cyrodiil was very familiar, very high fantasy, and Skyrim was very, Norse-like, and we know what they're like, you kind of felt like a welcome in the world, whereas, Morrowind, you felt like you were going into someone's home, you felt like you didn't belong there, and having that at first is going to be daunting, don't get me wrong, it's going to be a weird feeling at first, but I would just love to have that jarring feeling, and, being able to kind of delve yourself into this culture a lot more, and then at the end of the day, feel like you've really understand it, which would be really, really cool. Plus, also, the game would not be set long after this thing called the Void Nights, and the Void Nights was a 2-year period where the moons disappeared. So obviously, in them 2 years period, the Khajiits that were born would probably just be the Cathay, or a lot of miscarriages at the time, because like I said before, the moons determine which Khajiit they're born into. Again, so freaking cool, so different than what we're used to. And, having that effect on the Khajiit culture would have been huge. And hearing about that, reading about that, what they did in that period of time, doctors and things, and, healers at that time, would be, I'd love to read things like that, and very, very cool to explore. And I cannot stress this enough. It is a freaking great location, so much diversity in the land, probably more diverse than any of the other lands in Tamriel. Maybe the only one that could contribute and maybe fight with it is Cyrodiil. And I would just love to explore Elsweyr, and again, twinning it with Valenwood would be perfect for me. And, I'd love to see the political battle off, with the Palatine and the Anaquina. It's something that, is very much popular now, and I get a lot of comments on a lot of my videos saying that, this political drama that we're seeing in, things like Game of Thrones and a little bit of that in Vikings is something that's very popular with this kind of genre of fan, in the fantasy fans. And having that in the Elder Scrolls game would be really, really great. But for me to be 100% confident that Bethesda could pull it off is to get some new script writers, to be honest with you, because, Bethesda games are phenomenal. Playing in Skyrim, feeling like you're a part of that world is, great. But if you think about the story, they're not as good as compared to games like the Dragon Ages and the Witchers. There's not that many memorable characters in the Elder Scrolls games, and I think if you're going to have a political battle off like you do, like Game of Thrones really, then I think it needs to have, strong characters, strong areas, and, make it kind of more grey area than what it has been in the previous Elder Scrolls, because we've had some of that, the Stormcloaks, it's kind of, they've got good things about them, bad things about them. Daedric Princes, they're neither good or bad, but I would like that to be expanded a lot more, because there is areas of the game where it is black and white, like this choice is good, this choice is bad, which one are you going to pick? And that's something I would really love, Elder Scrolls to elaborate on, become more mature, be a little bit more like The Witcher in that sense, take that maturity and take that, political drama and strong characters and put it into an Elder Scrolls game, because then it would probably make it one of the best, fantasy franchises for me personally, because it's phenomenal as it is right now, and, great to explore around and everything, but this is a weakness, I believe, I believe it was Total Biscuit that says, there's an ocean of quests there, but with the depth of a puddle. And I think that was just a brilliant way to summarize the Elder Scrolls franchise, and I love it for what it is at the current state. If they released it in the way it is now, I'd still be happy, because I still enjoy doing this stuff as it is, but I would love them to add on it more, and, that's something that I think we can all ask for. Okay, so going into the overall of what I think the game will be set there, personally, I think it's very likely that the game could be set in Elsweyr. I think it's up there with Hammerfell and Argonia, which is the one that I'll be covering in the next episode. And the reason for that is because Elsweyr has been one of the most demanded locations by fans ever since Morrowind came out. And the reason for that is because the Khajiit are really kind of like got a strong cult following between the Elder Scrolls fans. And that's the reason for that is because it's got good culture and good lore. And I think a lot of old Elder Scrolls fans and the ones that have been playing since Morrowind, or the ones that have played Morrowind, because there is a lot that haven't played Morrowind, they want to recapture that alien feeling that Morrowind gave us. And that is something that I would love to capture. Like I said, it'd be jarring at first, but it'd be really great to go into. And so thanks a lot for watching the video. If you really enjoyed the content of my channel, then please check out some more. as you know, I've covered quite a few Elder Scrolls videos these past few weeks. And also, if you really do like my content and you want to help, please make sure to donate. The links in the description below for my Patreon and PayPal links. Any and all donations come back into the channel, not in my back pocket, as you can tell by me speaking into this beautiful Blue Yeti mic. And once again, thanks a lot for watching. Leave your comments below what you think the game should be set in. And please make sure you like the video, and thanks a lot for watching, and please make sure you subscribe as well. Thanks a lot once again, and goodbye.